Boom! In the sky, the death scythe turned into a terrifying light shadow and descended from the sky, directly cutting the void in half. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly dodged the terrifying light shadow. However, in the next moment, a golden Dharma wheel appeared above his head and pressed down like a golden mountain. Boom! 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 The void shattered as if it was directly obliterated. Terrifying energy enveloped Lin Xian. How terrifying! It seemed that the twin kings were really angry. Yes, the power of this technique was much stronger than before. That brat was definitely dead meat. Seeing this scene, the surrounding experts all began to discuss. However, in the next moment, their pupils suddenly shrank, because they realized that the Dharma wheel had missed and did not hurt the other party. That brat was so fast. No wonder he dared to contend with the twin kings. It turned out that he had such an extreme speed technique. So what? Speed alone was not enough to contend with the twin kings. Just wait and see. He would soon regret it. The twin kings looked at this scene and sneered. So that's how it is. You're relying on speed. However, this bit of movement technique of yours is nothing in front of me. The evil one sneered. The virtuous one's eyes flickered. Like a Buddha, his body shone with boundless light. That's enough. A golden rune appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. An illusion attack was instantly launched. That was the heavenly secret divine eyes. And it was launched so suddenly. Therefore, the twin kings did not have time to react before they were hit by the illusion. Lin Xian did not use floating light to pull their souls into a strange space. Instead, he used a low-key illusion that no one would notice. He did not plan to do it himself. He wanted to let the two brothers kill each other. What twin kings of Zhongzhou? You're just a two-headed monster. You're just a little stronger than the others. However, that still doesn't change your identity as monsters. Ah, damn brat, I'm going to kill you. I'll definitely tear you into pieces. The evil one roared crazily. The demonic chi in his body surged and instantly formed a huge black vortex in the sky. Countless black lightning bolts pierced through the void and enveloped the space where Lin Xian was. Buzz! Lin Xian's demonic ate was extremely fast and dodged in an instant. Do you think you can escape? The virtuous one's low voice sounded. Save all living beings. Golden light shone in the sky, forming a golden cage that completely sealed the entire space. It was also mercilessly squeezing. He wanted to completely crush Lin Xian. This method was extremely terrifying. There was nowhere to dodge. Lin Xian's dragon sword domain instantly appeared and turned into a defense to resist. For a moment, a sonorous sound rang out. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more mysterious. In the next moment, he continued to speak coldly. Save all living beings? You can't even save yourself. And you want to save others? What a joke. However, I have a way for you to save yourself. Chapter 24:12. They originally thought that he had some powerful methods, but they did not expect him to sow discord. Who did he think he was? He was not the first person to use such a method, nor would he be the last. However, no one had ever succeeded. Central Continent's twin kings were peerless geniuses. Regardless of whether it was their temperament, will or talent, they were all top-notch. How could a mere provocation make the two brothers turn against each other? Was that the genius of a mortal palace? How laughable. What a mortal palace. It was just trash. Cold laughter could be heard one after another. The elders of the Yi family also frowned. Indeed, what was the use of sowing discord? However, their holy physique was full of confidence, because he knew that the other party must have his reasons for doing so. Sure enough, Central Continent's twin kings were stunned when they heard that. Then they revealed disdain. A mere attempt to drive a wedge between the two of them was enough to turn the two brothers against each other? What a joke. However, they soon frowned. Especially the evil one, whose face was full of malevolence. At that moment, a mysterious rune appeared in Lin Xian's left eye. He quickly constructed an illusory space and guided the evil one's soul into it. Previously, he had already used an illusory technique as a foundation. So for a moment, the evil one did not realize that he had been pulled into a fantasy world. He felt as if there was a voice in the bottom of his heart. Then, a scene appeared in his mind. It was a scene of only one head. He occupied the entire body, invincible and respected by the world. No one would call him a monster anymore. He would reach the peak of martial arts. This kind of scene was what he had been dreaming of since he was a child. However, the reality of the past few years made him realize that he and his older brother could only coexist. It was impossible to kill him. However, for some reason, the dream that he had when he was young appeared again, and it was becoming more and more intense. In fact, it was not only the evil one. The good one was also slowly being guided to have such thoughts. At that moment, the evil one spoke. "Brother, I think what he said is reasonable. Why don't you die? Return this body to me." The good one snorted coldly. "I am the true owner of this body. You were just added later. Now I want to return myself." What? Hearing that, everyone was dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe it. Their minds went blank. What was going on? Did the twin kings of Central State really turn against each other? Heavens, what kind of joke is this? If it was so easy to sow discord, how could the twin kings of the Central State live until today? Most likely, he would be killed the moment he debuted, right? Obviously, ordinary sowing discord was impossible. Damn it, what did this brat do? To think that the twin kings of the Central State would turn against each other. For a moment, everyone was shocked. However, the situation ahead had changed greatly. The evil kid's expression was ice cold, his face sinister like a demon king. "Since you aren't willing, then don't blame me for being impolite." As he spoke, the death scythe in his hand slashed towards the virtuous one's head. What he wanted was the body, so he only wanted to get rid of the virtuous one's head. The virtuous one had the same idea. The celestial treasure in his hand smashed towards the evil one's head. In an instant, the two of them attacked, and the sound of intense collisions rang out. Half of the black demonic chi in the sky clashed with the other half of the golden light in the sky. This scene was not at all inferior to the confrontation between the two saints. Everyone's face was full of shock. This made them even more confused and frightened of Lin Xian. "Why don't you ask your subordinates, who started the fight first? Who insulted the people first? Do you think that with our status we can endure being insulted in public? If you received merciless ridicule as soon as you arrived, what would you do?" The one who spoke was naturally Morong Qingcheng. This voice was like a clap of thunder, piercing through the void. In addition, it came out of nowhere, so everyone was shocked. Everyone shivered and looked up at the sky. Lin Xian continued. "Earlier, you were the one who said in front of everyone that a life for a life. Now that you've killed a martial artist of Immortal Palace, you should kill yourself to atone for your sins." What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. They were extremely shocked. They didn't expect that the other party was actually waiting for Jiuxiao Seiko here. The people of Nine Heavens' sacred ground were ashen. "Damn brat! How dare you plot against us?" They were crazy, really crazy. "Why are you so angry? You want to kill someone because your face hurts? But do you think you can beat me? I just didn't want to fight with you before. But since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." The sword chi on Lin Xian's body flashed rapidly and went straight into the sky. The terrible aura made everyone tremble. "Swordsman, he is a swordsman!" Many people exclaimed because it was the first time they had seen Lin Xian fight. Buzz! But it was not something that could be resisted by ordinary skills. I wonder what kind of divine ability Brother Lin will use to resist? It should be no problem. Morong Qingqing was also very nervous. On the Black Demon ship, the people of Immortal Palace were also very serious, because this battle was related to the reputation of Immortal Palace. The dark red divine dragon Quan Man was panting. He knew that Lin Xian's trump card was definitely beyond imagination. So he waved his dragon claws and said fiercely, "Kid, kill him for me." "No, no, no." Whitey stood on the dark red divine dragon cheering. In front, Lin Xian furrowed his brows as well. This type of cultivation technique was truly frightening beyond compare. It was as if 3 universes were falling from the sky. Chapter 24:17. Whoosh. He did not take it head-on. Instead, he used the demigods and dodged to the distance. The space where he was originally standing was shattered. He had no choice. The power of the third heaven was too terrifying. Let's see how long you can hide. Wuxia Seiko sneered. After displaying the sixth layer of heaven, he became incomparably confident. At this moment, he looked forward with killing intent in his eyes. Kid, I'll let you know the consequences of offending me and the 9 heavens holy ground. What immortal palace? In my eyes it's nothing. You can't compare to my 9 heavens holy ground. Now you can die. Wuxia Seiko seized an opportunity. He used the 3rd heaven to completely seal off the area. This time Lin Xian could not escape. You can't escape. I'll let you know what a true peerless superpower is. Seeing this, Wuxia Seiko's face was extremely ferocious. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palms. The 3rd heaven quickly pressed down, completely shattering the sky. Everyone exclaimed. They knew that Lin Xian would not be able to block it. Lin Xian was also shocked. He realized that the 3rd heaven was indeed terrifying. It was far beyond his imagination. However, he was not afraid. He had just cultivated the 5-element sword. It was just the right time to use it. He swung his sword, sweeping in all directions. Whoosh! Blue sword light shone. Suddenly, seawater surged around Lin Xian and spread in all directions. More and more, as if it was going to cover the entire sky. This is ocean. No, this is sword chi. Heavens, his sword technique has reached such a level. Many experts below exclaimed. On the Black Demon ship, the elders of the Immortal Palace also looked serious. This seemed to be the sword of water of the 5-elements sword. In such a short time, the palace master could cultivate to such a level. His talent was too heaven-defying. Yes, this was indeed the sword of water. The terrifying heaven sword technique, combined with the great dragon sword soul, was unparalleled. It was as if there were 10,000 beasts galloping in the sky, making rumbling sounds. This was the sound of the seawater colliding with the 3 heavens. The seawater continued to gush out, enveloping Lin Xian, and spreading in all directions, resisting the terrifying 3rd layer of heaven. The 3 layers of heaven were extremely terrifying. They formed a triangle and resembled 3 heavenly blades as they slashed towards Lin Xian. However, at this moment, it encountered great resistance from the seawater. They cut through the seawater, but they were surrounded by seawater instead. For a moment, there was a stalemate in the air. In the end, the speed of the 3 heavens became slower and slower. Finally, they came to a complete stop, surrounded by the endless sea water. It was blocked. He actually managed to block it. At this moment, the holy sons and holy daughters cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that the terrifying 3rd heaven would be blocked by the sea water. Seeing this, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that the sword of water was indeed powerful. It contained an incomparably soft power that could dissolve everything. Damn it, how is this possible? When the people of 9 heavens holy ground saw this, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This was a great divine ability of their holy land. How could it be broken so easily? On the other side, the 5-elements palace snorted. What's the use of blocking it? He can't fight back anyway. In the end, he would still be killed by Wuxia Seiko. Yes, that's right. He can only protect himself. Compared to our bodies, he's too weak. The people of 9 heavens holy ground gritted their teeth. However, they soon realized that they were wrong. They were wrong. In the sky, Wuxia Seiko's face darkened when he saw that his attack was blocked. However, he soon increased the intensity of his attack. Kid, I don't believe that you can last forever. As long as I cut through your seawater, let's see what you can do to resist. Wuxia Seiko's voice was cold as the light on his body became even brighter. Lin Xian was surrounded by the endless sea water, but the corners of his lips curled into a smile. In the next moment, he waved his sword again and slashed out. Whoosh! The sea water rippled as an invisible force spread out. However, it didn't have any effect. This scene stunned Wuxia Seiko. He then laughed out loud. Is this your attack? It seems that you don't have much strength left to fight back. If that's the case, go to hell. Speaking of this, the 3rd heaven in front of him launched another fierce attack. The sea water in the sky surged and splashed, as if the Milky Way from the 9 heavens was pouring down. However, while he was attacking, the 3rd heaven beside Wuxia Seiko changed. In the 3rd heaven, countless green lights suddenly appeared and turned into trees and vines, spreading out in all directions. Soon a forest was formed and spread to the other two heavens. What's going on? What is this? Why is there a forest in the third heaven? Shouldn't it be the starry sky? The martial artists who were watching the battle were all stunned. They knew that the ninth heaven's superpower was a kind of superpower that simulated the starry sky. It was extremely terrifying. But now there was a forest growing on it? They couldn't believe it. The people from the nine heavens' holy ground also screamed. Jiu Seiko's pupils shrank. Damn it, what's going on? He was more frightened than these people because he realized that these trees were absorbing the power of the third heaven. The light of the third heaven became dimmer and dimmer. The power in his body was also rapidly draining away. Damn it, it's the opponent's superpower. Seeing this, Jiu Seiko roared. Destroy! The third heaven beside him exploded with endless light, cutting off all the forest. However, the broken forest trees grew again and turned into towering trees, absorbing the energy crazily. In an instant, the space around Jiu Seiko was completely surrounded by the forest. It's the kid's superpower. At this moment, everyone understood what was going on, and they all cried out in surprise. The other saints and saintesses were also shocked. The people from the Five Elements Palace looked even worse. Is this the power of wood? This kid can already use the power of the five elements. Could it be that he was a martial artist of the five elements system? This stunned them, because the Five Elements Palace cultivated the superpower of the five elements. They didn't expect the other party to know a similar superpower of the Five Elements Palace. Damn it, our saint isn't here. Otherwise, we would definitely be able to restrain him. In terms of superpower of the five elements, our saint is definitely the best. Damn it, if it weren't for the fact that there were so many people, we would have asked our elders to take action. We would have killed him with one slap. These people gritted their teeth, but the people around them exclaimed. Jiu Seiko was even more furious. He naturally also realized that this was the power of wood. In the next moment, he coldly snorted and waved his hand. A sky full of flames rushed out from her body and swept in all directions. They formed a flaming divine eagle. Chapter 24:18. Sure enough, when the rain of the forest met the fire, it burned fiercely. The sky was dyed red by the fire. When the green trees turned to ashes, the flaming godly eagle also disappeared. Seeing this, Jiu Seiko laughed loudly. Did you see that? Your attack is nothing in front of me. Is that so? Lin Xian sneered, his eyes filled with mockery. Damn it, what's with that expression? Seeing the other party's mockery, Jiu Seiko's face darkened. In the next moment his pupils shrank. That was because he felt that the surrounding trees that had turned to ashes were once again fluctuating with green light. Then, they quickly turned into towering trees, and the vines grew again. My power of wood is endless. You've underestimated it. Now go to hell. At this point, Lin Xian shouted coldly and increased his strength. Sure enough, the trees grew crazily. Countless trees grew from a few meters to a few hundred meters, a few thousand meters, and even 10,000 meters. It was a terrifying scene. It was as if a forest had appeared in the sky. Moreover, it was still growing. Of course, the energy needed for this growth was collected from the third heaven. Therefore, the third heaven around Jiu Seiko became incomparably dim. What was even more terrifying was that Jiu Seiko felt that the power in his body was quickly draining away. Ah, damn it! He roared and removed the third heaven around him to prevent the energy from draining away. Boom! A set of armor appeared on his body and supported his defense. He did not believe that these trees could still grow on his body. A flaming armor appeared on Jiu Seiko's body. It burned fiercely and blocked all the trees that rushed over. Seeing that the power of wood was suppressed, Jiu Seiko breathed a sigh of relief. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared at the front again. His body flashed and he rushed over. At the same time, the third heaven in front of him was like a heavenly blade, mercilessly cutting the sea water apart. Great! Jiu Seiko was going to counterattack. Below, the people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Heavens Sacred Ground cheered. However, at this moment, everyone exclaimed again. Because in the sky, among the countless forests, a golden light suddenly appeared. Boom! a golden sword suddenly flew out. Like a golden lightning, it streaked across the sky and hit Jiu Seiko fiercely. Not good. Feeling the terrifying power behind him, Jiu Seiko's face changed. In the next moment, the light on his body suddenly erupted, forming 9 light shields that surrounded him. Clang! The golden sword collided with one of the light shields and made a shocking sound. Crack! The light shield shattered, and the golden sword slammed into the Saint of the 9 Firmament. However, the 9th Firmament Saint was wearing armor, so he was not pierced. His body, Jiu Seiko, his body, Jiu Xiaoyu with the sword. He even vomited a mouthful of blood. Not good. Jiu Seiko is injured. Everything happened too quickly. Before anyone could exclaim, Jiu Seiko had fallen into the sea. In the next moment, he was surrounded by the merciless sea water. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. The ancient dragon abyss sword instantly exploded. The unparalleled power turned into a giant dragon and slashed down. Sky-shattering. The sword hit Jiu Seiko's body, creating a deafening sound. The surrounding space and endless seawater were shattered, forming a vacuum zone. Jiu Seiko was like a meteor, plunging into the ground. The space he was in immediately collapsed. Whoosh! Boom! The ground trembled as if there was an earthquake. Everyone's heart trembled violently. Damn it, how did this happen? The people of 5 Elements Palace were gloomy. The martial artists of 9 Heavens' sacred ground screamed. Holy Sun! They could not believe that their holy son had actually been chopped down by someone with a single sword strike. Ah! Damn brat, I'm going to kill you. In front of them, countless rays of light surged. Jiu Seiko rushed out from the deep pit. His face was ferocious. The armor on his body was shattered, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He was about to explode in anger. However, in the next moment, what welcomed him was a terrifying giant foot. In the sky, Lin Xian snorted and stomped his foot. Boom! A giant rock foot pressed down from the sky. It was like an ancient demon mountain, shattering the void and completely enveloping Jiu Seiko. Boom! Jiu Seiko flew into the air and was stomped down. Boom! His body landed on the ground again. Not only that, but the giant foot had also turned into a giant mountain and pressed down heavily. At this moment, everyone's eyelids twitched violently. Many people even touched their faces unconsciously. If they were to be stomped by that foot, they would definitely be severely injured. More importantly, they would be embarrassed. A holy son was stomped down in front of everyone. This was definitely a great humiliation. At this moment, everyone was in an uproar. The holy sons and holy daughters also looked serious. On the Black Demon ship, the Immortal Palace martial artists cheered. Great, the palace master is mighty. Jiu Seiko, now you know how powerful we are. That's right, the 9 Heavens holy ground wants to fight against the Immortal Palace? You're too far away. Voices came from the Black Demon ship, making everyone's scalp tingle. The people of the 9 Heavens holy ground were ashen-faced. They rushed up crazily. However, just as they moved, the giant rock foot shattered. Then, Jiu Seiko flew into the air with disheveled hair. He opened his eyes and formed a few hundred meters of light, shattering the rock in front of him. The aura on his body was monstrous. He turned into the 9 Heavens immortal king, standing in the void. Damn brat, I want you dead. He was crazy, because he had never been humiliated like this before. He was actually stomped down. How was he going to show his face in the future? He had to kill Lin Xian to wash away his humiliation. Kill. In the next moment, he rushed out like a madman. A blue bead appeared in his hand, emitting a mysterious power. Feeling the power, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He naturally felt a terrifying power from it. It seemed that his opponent had used his trump card. However, he would not continue to fight with his opponent. Heavenly Secret Divine Eyes Soul Ignition. Ah! Jiu Seiko screamed as he flew halfway. His entire body rolled in the air, looking very miserable. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Damn it, what happened? Soul attack. It's definitely a soul attack. This brat is a soul expert. At this moment, the holy sons and holy daughters' eyelids twitched wildly. Fortunately, they had seen the twin kings battle earlier, so they put on their jade pendants in advance. However, Jiu Seiko had just arrived, and did not know the Twin King's situation. Therefore his soul was directly hit. Boom! At this moment, Lin Xian slashed out a sky full of sword light. All of them landed on Jiuxiao Seiko's body, sending him flying and vomiting blood. Holy Sun! Chapter 24:19. Saint. This time, the people of Nine Heavens' sacred ground could not take it anymore. They rushed into the sky and caught Jiuxiao Seiko. Damn it, let's go. Jiuxiao Seiko's face was pale as he gritted his teeth and said in a low voice. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists of Nine Heavens' sacred ground were shocked. They did not expect that their bodies were about to leave. It seemed that they were severely injured. In the next moment they gritted their teeth and roared. Damn kid, I'll remember you. Immortal Palace, right? Nine Heavens' sacred ground will never let this go. With that, they gathered around the saint of the Jiuxiao clouds, and quickly rose into the air, and flew into the distance. They ran away. These people actually ran away. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. It seemed that Jiuxiao Seiko had been defeated. In the next moment, they looked at Lin Xian and gasped. This person had actually defeated the saint of the Nine Firmament. It was truly unbelievable, because they did not expect this result at all. For a moment, many people looked at Lin Xian with horror. The saints and saintesses were facing a formidable enemy. This was definitely a powerful enemy. However, at this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed. A large palm glowing with 5-colored light slammed down viciously. This palm appeared very suddenly. There was no warning at all. When it appeared, it was less than 200 meters away from Lin Xian. The space around Lin Xian shattered in an instant. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as well. He could feel a powerful aura. In the next moment, the dragon sword realm instantly enveloped him. At the same time, rays of sword chi rushed into the sky and collided with the 5-colored palm. Ka. However, it was useless. The sword chi that filled the sky was shattered by the palm. The 5-colored palm carried the 5 types of energy of wood, water, fire and earth. It completely merged together and slammed down. This was definitely a terrifying palm strike from a terrifying expert. Lin Xian's face was grave. He roared, and was about to use his trump card to resist. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the black demon ship. One of the elders instantly took out a black ancient mirror, which emitted a black light. Whoosh! The black light was like a bolt of black lightning. It tore through the void and struck the 5-colored palm, piercing through it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the 5-colored palm disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of blood in the sky. Below, among the people from the 5 Elements Palace, an old man let out a muffled groan, and withdrew his palm. His palm had been pierced through, and was dripping with blood. His aged eyes looked to the sky, his face filled with fear. There was actually someone who could injure him with a single strike. Who was it? This happened so quickly that they didn't even have time to react. By the time they reacted, the 5-colored hand in the sky had already disappeared. Then they cried out in surprise. Someone actually wanted to kill him. Furthermore, looking at the 5-colored palms, could it be that the 5 Elements Palace was about to make a move? In the next moment, countless gazes looked in the direction of the 5 Elements Palace. Sure enough, they saw an old man with bleeding palms in the crowd. It's him. That seemed to be the elder of the 5 Elements Palace. That was an expert of the older generation. He was extremely terrifying. If that slap landed, even a saint would be severely injured. Yes, they didn't expect the elder of the 5 Elements Palace to actually make a move, and he was even injured. What was that black light? It seemed like there were also exceptional experts in Immortal Palace. Sounds of discussion rang out one after another. On the black ship, the elder rose into the air and snorted coldly. 5 Elements Palace, you guys sure have guts. You actually dare to make a move against my Immortal Palace's master. Do you not want to live anymore? This elder's aura was extremely powerful. There was even a black mirror floating above his head. That mirror was very simple and unadorned. It was hexagonal, and one could tell at a glance that it was an antique. At this moment, tens of thousands of black rays of light descended, shattering the void. This scene was extremely terrifying and shocking. However, What made everyone even more shocked was the elder's words. What did he say? Immortal Palace's master? Heavens, that youth was actually Immortal Palace's master? They didn't dare believe it. From the looks of it, although they had never heard of Immortal Palace, their strength was definitely not weak. They were at least at the level of a peerless sect. Such a force had a young man as its master? They were dumbfounded. However, it seemed like it was true. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian and exclaimed. Among them, many people had envy in their eyes. His identity had probably surpassed that of a saint or a saintess. No wonder he could win Murong Qingcheng's heart. This kid had a great background. The faces of the people of the Five Elements Palace were extremely gloomy. They didn't expect their sneak attack to fail, and they were caught red-handed. For a moment they fell silent. On the other side, the 10,000 Thunder Saints' face was gloomy, and the people of the Tuoba family were even more solemn. On the other hand, the crown prince of the Tai dynasty was screaming crazily. Palace Master? Damn it! When did this kid become the Palace Master? Wasn't he a rogue cultivator? These people were indeed stunned. Previously, when they joined forces with countless experts to hunt down the other party, no powerful figure jumped out from behind the other party. However, only a few months had passed, and the other party already had a force comparable to an unparalleled sect behind him. This caught the crown prince and the others off guard. Damn it, this won't do. We have to quickly contact the people of the war tribe and kill him. Otherwise, it would be difficult to kill him in the future. Everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's identity and strength. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Damn the Five Elements Palace. How dare they sneak attack him? It was unforgivable. The next moment, he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Attack! Order received. On the Black Demon ship, the dark red divine dragon swung its tail and instantly controlled the Black Demon ship. Buzz! A shocking black beam of light flew down from the sky, and its target was the people of the Five Elements Palace. What? Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect the other party to attack so decisively. Hurry up and leave. Countless people rose into the air and flew quickly to both sides. They wanted to leave the Five Elements Palace. The faces of the people of the Five Elements Palace turned green. Fuck, isn't it just a sneak attack? Damn it, how dare you launch such a fierce attack? The next moment they also fled frantically. The elders' faces were also gloomy. They shouted loudly, hurry up and defend. The next moment, they opened their mouths and spat out shields, bronze pagodas and formations to form countless defenses. At the same time, they retreated frantically. Boom! The black beam of light collided with these defenses, causing a shocking collision. A huge energy wave spread out in all directions. The ground cracked, the sky shattered, and the mountain peaks were instantly flattened. Everyone retreated in fear until they were tens of thousands of miles away. In front of them, the black light exploded, forming a black mushroom cloud that shot into the sky. Bang! 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 In the storm that filled the sky, countless figures were sent flying backward, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Some even exploded into blood mist. Chapter 2420. Whoosh! A Five Elements mountain rushed out of the body of a peerless expert, blocking the path ahead. A five-colored sword light formed under the feet of an elder, bringing all the people of the Five Elements Palace with him, and instantly disappearing into the sky. Damn brat, just you wait. This matter isn't over. The people of the Five Elements Palace only left behind these words, leaving behind a large amount of blood and corpses. Humph, you ran fast enough. Otherwise, I would have killed all of you the next time. Lin Xian looked into the distance and coldly snorted. The other party had actually dared to sneak attack him. They were truly reckless. He decided that if he saw the people of the Five Elements Palace again, he wouldn't let any of them off. In the sky, the terrifying energy storm disappeared, and a terrifying black hole appeared in front of them. It was so deep that one couldn't see its bottom. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. The Five Elements Palace had also been beaten away. This brat was too terrifying. Arrogant. As soon as he appeared, he confronted two holy lands. This left everyone speechless. Moreover, from the looks of it, the people of the Five Elements Palace had suffered heavy injuries. Many of their disciples had even been killed. This was definitely a shocking matter. Whoosh! While everyone was in a daze, a golden Taoist robe appeared in the sky and gently fluttered in the wind. The remnant energy storm in the surroundings dissipated. Then a voice sounded from the savage beasts below. Everyone, we came here to explore the ancient tomb. Why is there a need to fight? This was an expert from the Wavering Light Holy Land. Everyone was shocked. They hadn't expected the big shot of the Wavering Light Holy Land to speak up. It wasn't just the Wavering Light Holy Land. In the sky, an elder of the Yi family also spoke up. That's right. I feel that it's time to start cracking the ancient tomb. Yes. An old lady from the Jade Lake Holy Land nodded. She agreed. The eyes of the All Beginnings Holy Land's elder flickered. At this moment, the experts of various great clans rushed over. Lin Xian and the others also focused their attention. I feel that we should first work together to break the seal outside. After entering the ancient tomb, we can compete with our own strength. What do you think? Good. Good. Everyone agreed. After all, fighting outside wouldn't bring them any benefits. Moreover, this was the ancient tomb of a sage. The seal should be extremely terrifying. It was more reliable to work together to break the seal. Good. Since that's the case, let's discuss it. The elder of the Yi family walked out. Many disciples of the Yi family followed him. On the other side, the elder from the Wavering Light Holy Land also rose into the air. People from the other clans and holy lands were all rushing over. For a moment, countless rays of light shone in the sky. This place was the Grand Xia Empire. Most likely, the royal clan of Grand Xia would be the first to investigate this place. Why don't you share the information with us? How about we come up with a countermeasure? Hearing this, many people turned their heads and looked in the same direction. There were many people there wearing yellow robes with fierce flood dragons embroidered on them. One of them was a young man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was very handsome and wore a long white robe, which made him look like an immortal. He was a prince of the Great Xia dynasty. There were many elders of the royal family by his side. At this moment, a gray-haired imperial family elder heard this and flew into the sky. He said loudly, "Gentlemen, we have indeed carried out a great deal of investigation. This saint's tomb was very big. Currently, it was hundreds of thousands of miles wide. However, according to our estimates, the entire tomb must be several million li long." So big. Everyone was shocked. But after thinking about it, they understood. After all, this was the tomb of a saint. From the hundreds of thousands of miles that we have discovered so far, we have found 3 places to enter. However, there are too many array formations and seals inside. We can't get through them alone. According to our observations and speculations, one of the 3 places is the weakest. Even so, it will take 100 grandmasters who are proficient in array formations to work together for a month to tear the array formation apart. Hearing this, everyone gasped. It was indeed the tomb of a saint. It was too terrifying. Without further ado, let's begin. After hearing this, the Yi family elders' eyes flickered. Soon, the various great sage lands, great sects, and families all sent out their array formation grandmasters to prepare and work together to break the array formation. Lin Xian also sent out 2 grandmasters. One was elderly, and the other was a middle-aged deacon. Of course, that didn't mean that they only had 2 people, but they didn't need to reveal all their trump cards. The other sacred lands and great sects should have done the same. After all, each faction sent out 1 or 2 grandmasters. When they worked together, it would be a very terrifying group. They should be able to break it. The Great Xia dynasty elder said that they needed 100 people, but there were a total of 150 grandmasters gathered. It seemed that everyone wanted to break it as soon as possible. Seeing this, the Great Xia dynasty elder nodded and said, "Everyone, please follow me." Whoosh! They flew into the distance. After flying for a while, the Great Xia dynasty elder's body swayed, and he landed below. Seeing this, everyone followed him and landed as well. There was a canyon below that was more than 10,000 miles long. At this moment, the Great Xia dynasty elder entered the canyon. The 150 array formation grandmasters followed him in together. The others landed around the canyon and watched. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon also followed. The two of them looked in the direction and frowned. That was because they had indeed sensed the fluctuations of an array formation. It was very obscure, but there was a trace of a terrifying aura. Boom! The great Xia dynasty elder landed below the canyon and waved his hand. Immediately, the vines on the mountain walls were all removed, revealing the entire 3 walls. Then everyone was shocked. That was because they realized that the mountain walls were actually engraved with densely packed runes that looked like tadpoles. It was very mysterious. The surrounding people discussed because they couldn't understand it at all. The eyes of the saints and saintesses were also flickering. Below, the 150 array formation grandmasters also began to discuss when they saw the countless mysterious runes. They all frowned. Indeed, this array formation was very mysterious. No wonder the great Xia dynasty didn't do anything. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't be able to break it in a short period of time. It seemed to be a type of writing. An array formation grandmaster of the Yi family frowned. Writing? Are you saying that these runes are writing? The others were also surprised and looked over. They knew that the Yi family was a family of the ancients, and they definitely had an inheritance that had been passed down since ancient times. That was something that ordinary families couldn't compare to. Therefore, at this moment, everyone was shocked. Among them, the elder of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground asked, "What did it say? Since it was writing, it must be a record." However, the elder of the Yi family shook his head. He only knew a few of the words and couldn't connect them at all. Hearing this, everyone sighed, their faces filled with disappointment. But then they felt relieved. They were all the powerhouses of the peerless sects and sacred grounds. If even they couldn't understand it, one could imagine that even if it was writing, it should be very ancient. Chapter 24-21. The other saints and saintesses were also waiting silently. They knew that it would take at least a month to crack it, so it was normal that they couldn't understand it now. However, the dark red divine dragon frowned, and there was a trace of doubt in its eyes. "What's wrong?" Lin Xian asked. "What did you see?" He had also looked at it for a long time. He could only see that there was a strong seal on it, but he didn't know if it was text. The dark red divine dragon sent a voice transmission carefully. "Why do I feel that those runes are a little familiar?" "Familiar? Could it be that you know them?" Lin Xian was also surprised, and his eyelids twitched wildly. He also sent a voice transmission to ask. After all, this matter was too important, and he didn't dare to expose it. "I don't know them, but I feel like I've seen them before. It looks like some kind of text formed after complexity." "Formed after complexity?" Lin Xian frowned, but he soon understood. "You're saying that you've seen a simplified version of these runes before?" "You can say that." The dark red divine dragon nodded. "But even if it's simplified, I've seen it before. At most, I can recognize a few words." "Then what are the simplified words?" Lin Xian felt that this was a clue. Demon race's text. Demon race. Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. How can it be a demon race? Could it be that the ancient tomb of the saint belongs to the demon race? Is the demon saint buried inside? Lin Xian didn't know. But this was also one of the possibilities. After all, the dark red divine dragon suggested such a clue, so there was a high chance that it was the case. Lin Xian didn't tell the others, because he felt that even if he didn't say anything, the array formation grandmasters in front would probably have a way to crack it. Indeed, the array formation grandmasters in front had already begun to discuss a way to crack it together. As for the others, some were watching, and some felt bored, so they set up camp nearby. In an instant, the surrounding 10,000 miles were all occupied by the people of the Holy Land families. The people of the Immortal Palace also occupied a valley, where they were recuperating. Among them, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon didn't return to the valley, but had been watching from the side of the valley. Among them, Morong Qingqing came to accompany them for a few days before returning. Hu Yidao and the others also came a few times, but they couldn't understand it after looking for a long time. They went back to cultivate. Tens of thousands of miles away from the valley, there were countless figurists. These people's hidden auras were extremely powerful, and they were not weaker than the experts from the Holy Lands and great sects. At this moment, A light's eye as it was the scene of the valleys. There were many people standing in front of the image. There were men and women, young and old. Immortal palaces, immortal ims, immortal palace, immortals, immortal Lin immortals. If Lin Xian were here and saw this woman, he would definitely cry out in surprise. This was because this was the Yin Rui that he had met before. She was also the Zhao Shui that Lin Xian suspected. At this moment, Yin Rui's beautiful face was looking at the screen of light before her. Then she frowned. TMSD, the handsome young man beside her asked. Yin Rui's eyes flickered. Those words seemed to be the language of the demon race. Now that you mention it, it does look like it. The man in the green robe beside her also frowned. Hearing that, the elders behind were all shocked. They all stretched their heads over to take a closer look. After looking at it for a long time, they were embarrassed because they couldn't understand it. Indeed, they couldn't understand it. The man in the green robe shrugged his shoulders. The surrounding people couldn't understand it, so they looked at Yin Ryu. Yin Ryu sighed. I can't understand it either, but I can understand the ancient language. It's obviously beyond the ancient era. I don't know which era it's from. Hearing this, these people sucked in a breath of cold air. Then their eyes lit up. Could it be that this is the tomb of the ancient sage of the demon race? It's very likely. Great. If we can get the things inside, we can definitely develop and become stronger. By then, we might even get news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it. The demon race's tomb is being occupied by so many humans. I can't take it lying down. Some people gritted their teeth. Why don't we rush over and kill them all? A burly man said. His entire body was covered in scales, and he looked very demonic. However, after the man in the green robe heard that, he snorted coldly. Don't be rash. Although the Demon Lord Palace is also a sacred land, there are too many great sects here this time. We must not be rash. We must let them crack the array formation first. We'll just follow behind them. Anyway, this is the ancient tomb of the demon race. We definitely know more about the mechanisms and things inside than them. When the time comes, we'll just go in and snatch the treasures. Everyone agreed to this plan. Yin Ryu also nodded slightly. However, when she saw the flash of a red snake on the screen, a glint appeared in her eyes. But very quickly she hid it. These people were from the Demon Lord Palace. The Demon Lord Palace was a very terrifying sacred land in the southern mountains. The people inside were all related to the demon race, and most of them were half demons. They didn't expect that at this moment, they would also come. And they began to plan from tens of thousands of miles away. On the other side in the canyon, 150 array masters had already begun to take action. They used everything they had learned in their lives and began to crack the array formation. The other saints and saintesses, as well as the warriors of the great sage land, were all recuperating nearby. Only a few people were watching around. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were among them. Both of them were proficient in array formations. Although they didn't make a move, they wouldn't let go of this opportunity to watch. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. More than half of the array formation had been cracked, but it wasn't broken. This was far beyond everyone's expectations. It seemed that the defense of this array formation was terrifying, and it was even more terrifying than everyone had imagined. After about another half a month, there was finally a boom. Endless spiritual energy in front of them surged into the clouds, forming a strange scene. Is it open? All the warriors in the surrounding thousands of miles stood up and looked up at the sky. Whoosh! Their bodies swayed, and like ghosts, they gathered towards the canyon. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon also stood up, their eyes shining. They had been watching the entire process. Finally, on this day, the array formation in front of them shattered. The sturdy mountain wall was engraved with mysterious runes. At this moment, a crack appeared in the middle and slowly opened. Rumble! The entire mountain range began to tremble. Finally, a pitch-black hole appeared, emitting a primordial aura. At this moment, the sky and the ground were filled with figures. They looked forward and were extremely excited. The people from the Immortal Palace also came to Lin Xian's side. Chapter 24-22. Whoosh! The Yaoguang Sacred Land cultivator waved his hand and took out several demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were about 5-star demonic beasts. At this moment, they were tied with golden chains. Go! 3 demonic wolves and 2 demonic tigers were thrown in. These demonic beasts quickly entered, and the golden chains rattled in the air. After about half an hour, the 3 demonic wolves and 2 demonic tigers returned. They were not injured. They were also in high spirits. Obviously, they had not been attacked. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that there should be no danger. At least there were no traps in the entrance. Thinking of this, they all became excited. The Yi family, Yaoguang, Jade Lake, and the other elders of the Great Sage Land looked at each other, and then nodded. They could enter. With this order, these people were very excited. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Countless figures flew into the cave like locusts, for fear that the things would be taken away if they were a step slower. Let's go. The Yi family set off. Among them, Yi Wadeo's figure was tall. His golden sacred domain rushed out, covering the surrounding people, and he quickly entered. After that, the people of the Yaoguang sacred land also entered. The auras of the elders surged, and the young cultivators followed behind the Yaoguang sacred son and the Yaoguang sacred daughter. The All Beginnings sacred land. The sacred daughter of All Beginnings entered with a group of people. The sacred son of All Beginnings snorted, and also entered with countless experts. The relationship between the sacred daughter of All Beginnings and the sacred son was not very good, so they divided into 2 groups. Brother Xian. Morong Qingqing looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled. Follow the sacred land in first. We will meet again if there is a chance. Okay. Morong Qingqing nodded. Then she and the experts of the Jade Lake sacred land walked in. Let's go. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He, the dark red dragon, Hui Dao Xing Tian, 3 elders, dozens of deacons and 100 elites. They walked into the cave together. Not long after Lin Xian entered, the people from the 5 Elements Palace also arrived. They looked at the figure with gloomy expressions. This time, there was a young man in a 5-colored robe in front of them. He was very handsome and had a terrifying aura. It seemed that this was the 5 Elements Saint. Is that the kid who just went in? The 5 Elements Saint's eyes shone with a cold light. That's right, it was him. The surrounding 5 Elements Palace members gnashed their teeth in anger. When the 5 Elements Saint heard this, he sneered. What's the big deal? When I meet him in the tomb, I'll just kill him. As he spoke, he strode in with his men. On the other side, the people from 9 Heavens Holy Ground had also arrived. Jiu Xiao Seiko's face was a little pale, but it seemed like he was fine. As he watched Lin Xian's figure enter, his face turned cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Damn brat, this time, I'll definitely kill you. Let's go. Jiu Xiao Seiko quickly entered with his men. Apart from this, countless figures entered, and this continued for a very long time. Ha 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 ha. Get out of my way. At this moment, a voice came from afar, turning into a powerful torrent that rushed forward. Boom. Many people were sent flying. Damn it. Who is it? How dare you ambush us? Are you tired of living? These people were furious. How dare someone attack us at the entrance of the cave? Why? Do you think we're easy to bully? Among these people, there were people from the sacred grounds, and also people from the great sections. They turned around angrily. However, in the next moment, their faces turned green. The twin kings of Middle Ground. He was back. These people trembled, and with a schwa sound, they opened up a path for him. To be honest, they were too shocked. This was because they had seen with their own eyes that the twin kings of Middle Ground had gone crazy and left. At that time, the good one and the evil one were killing each other. They thought that they had to kill one of them to stop the fight. However, they did not expect that the other party would appear again. Moreover, the good one and the evil one existed at the same time, and neither of them were injured. What was going on? Could it be that the 2 of them stopped fighting? They did not know what had happened, but they knew that the twin kings of Middle Ground were too terrifying. That kid was probably going to be unlucky. Sure enough, the twin kings of Middle Ground roared ferociously as they flew. That damn kid, how dare you sow discord? You even used illusions. I won't let you off this time. I'll capture you and suppress you to the 18th level of hell. The twin kings of Middle Ground rushed into the cave ahead with a cold voice, mixed with light that filled the sky. The surrounding people swallowed their saliva crazily. They knew that things had gotten out of hand. When the two sides met, there would definitely be a shocking battle. Let's go quickly. These people discussed and moved forward at the same time. Soon, the princes of the royal family and the various aristocratic families entered one after another. The entire process lasted for a long time. There were too many people. Fortunately, the ancient tomb of the saint was incomparably huge and could accommodate all of them. In fact, the space inside was far beyond their imagination. After waiting for a long time, when most of the people had entered, and only a few itinerant cultivators were left, countless figures flew over from the distance again. These people dragged long streaks of light and landed in the canyon like comets. The person in the lead was Yin Ryu, whose clothes were whiter than snow. Next to her was a demonic man in a green robe, followed by a large number of experts. They were the people from the Demon Imperial Palace, who were hiding in the dark. When they came to the canyon and saw the two blood-colored doors at a close distance, they all laughed. As expected, it was the language of the demon race. It seemed that this was indeed the ancient tomb of the demon race's saint. There might be ancient cultivation techniques and heaven-defying treasures inside. They had to leave quickly and not let those people get it. These people entered one after another. Inside the ancient tomb, everyone flew quickly. Armor appeared on their bodies, and shields surrounded them to prevent others from sneaking up on them. Lin Xian and the others also moved quickly. Not long after, their vision gradually widened and light appeared in front of them. Speed up. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the people from the Immortal Palace immediately sped up. In front of them was a very vast cave. There were countless white pillars around it, connecting the surface to the top of the mountain. There were even countless holes. At this moment, there were water droplets dripping on the ground, making dripping sounds. This was a karst cave. After entering, Peacock cried out in surprise. The others were also extremely shocked. They looked around. At this moment, someone in front of them pointed at the ground and went crazy with excitement. We're rich. It's actually Earth Spirit Liquid. What? Earth Spirit Liquid? The surrounding people were shocked and turned their heads. Sure enough, they saw that the liquid in the puddle on the ground was emitting a pure energy, causing their blood to boil. It was really Earth Spirit Liquid, and from the looks of it, it should be tens of thousands of years old. Chapter 24-23. We're rich. Hurry up and attack. The people in front exclaimed. They reached out with their large palms and grabbed over. There was no such thing outside at all. Only ancient tombs that had been sealed for a long time would have it. They did not expect to find such precious Earth Spirit Liquid the moment they entered. It seemed that the preciousness of this ancient tomb was far beyond their imagination. Get lost. Our unfettered sect discovered it first. In front, a few unfettered sect disciples roared crazily and attacked quickly. Beside them, multicolored light flickered. It was extremely terrifying. Humph. Behind them, a cold snort sounded. A fist quickly blasted over. It was like an ancient demon mountain that did not release any light. However, that power made heaven and earth tremble. Fortunately, this was the ancient tomb of a saint, and had the saint's laws. Therefore, the surrounding buildings did not shatter. However, the entire space still shook violently. Boom. The terrifying fist shattered the unfettered sect's attack. The blood in the bodies of the unfettered sect disciples churned as they flew forward. They crashed into the stone pillar in front of them, and countless fragments fell. Ah! They roared crazily. Damn it! Who is it? Soon they were stunned. For Symbol's sacred ground? You dare to go against our unfettered sect? Haha, treasures belong to those who are capable. What do you mean by yours or mine? This is an ownerless item. Behind them, a few burly men sneered. They were very tall, and their muscles bulged with terrifying power. They were the martial artists of the four Symbols' sacred ground. Well said, treasures belong to those who are capable. However, the four Symbols' sacred ground should rest at the side. A few people with the aura of the Tao of Dragon around them walked out. They were from the royal family. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed. The experts of the four symbols sacred ground frowned. The people of the Ninely dynasty, you want to attack too? Nonsense. Get lost if you don't want to die. The experts of the Ninely dynasty snorted coldly. The aura of the Tao of Dragon on their bodies surged with destructive power. Courting death. The experts of the four symbols sacred ground roared and charged over. In an instant, a great battle broke out. It was extremely terrifying. Not only here, but there were intense battles everywhere, because the earth spirit liquid on the ground was being fought over by everyone. However, these people knew the severity of the situation. They controlled the battle within a certain range and did not affect the surroundings. Otherwise, the collapse of the saint's tomb was no joke. Moreover, they were even more afraid of the traps in this place. If they were to encounter a trap, a terrifying array formation would appear. Therefore, although these people were fighting fiercely, their energy was precisely controlled and did not leak out at all. Young master, what should we do? When Hu Yidao and the others saw this, they were also very excited. Seeing a treasure, they naturally had to make a move. Lin Xian smiled. Let's split into 3 teams. Elder Wang, you lead a team. Elder Lu, you lead a team. Elder Li, stay by my side. Yes. The 3 elders nodded, and Lin Xian looked at the 100 elites behind him. Split into 3 groups and follow these 3 elders. Ghost Li, you go to Elder Wang. Yidao, you follow Elder Lu. Peacock, follow me. Let's split up. If you are in danger, send out a distress signal, and we will provide support. Yes. These people were divided into 3 groups. Attack. With a single command, the 3 teams transformed into 3 torrents and joined in the scramble. Little White, it's up to you. Lin Xian did not attack, but instead he pulled out the little white monkey. The little white monkey was very excited. It hugged the small bowl and ran around. With a flash of light, all the earth essence in one of the puddles was swept away. Ah, who is it? The surrounding people roared crazily. Damn it, who did it? Come out now. These people were really crazy. After fighting for so long, the earth essence liquid disappeared. How could they not go crazy? Whoosh! The little white monkey came back and danced excitedly. There was a lot of earth essence liquid in its small bowl. Good, good, good. Elder Li's eyes widened into a smile. He quickly took out a jade gourd and placed all of the spirit liquid inside. The little white monkey moved and went to fight for it again. Peacock, bring some people along. Lin Xian smiled. Peacock could not wait any longer. Although she was a girl, she was very battle-hungry. At this moment, she led the elites behind her and quickly rushed to the battle. Only Lin Xian, Elder Li, and Xing Tian were left. With these 2 powerful people guarding him, Lin Xian was not worried about his safety. Roar! At this moment, a strange cry sounded in the sky. Then a red figure rushed over. Ha 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 ha! It's all mine! To be able to make such a sound, there was no doubt that it was the dark red divine dragon. Damn snake, get lost! The powerful beings of the vermilion bird sect roared. The flames on their bodies surged into the sky and formed the projection of a vermilion bird, which enveloped the dark red divine dragon. They wanted to refine it. Bam bam bam. The dark red divine dragon swung its tail and slapped the projection of the vermilion bird away. Then, it slapped the powerful beings of the vermilion bird sect and sent them flying. Then, it opened its mouth and swallowed the entire puddles. Gulp gulp. He drank all the earth essence liquid in the puddles. Ha 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 ha. Awesome. Delicious. The dark red divine dragon yelled excitedly. Seeing this, the eyes of the surrounding people turned red. There were at least 100 drops of earth essence liquid in the puddles, but they were all swallowed in one gulp? How could they accept this? Damn snake, spit it out! The powerful beings of the vermilion bird sect roared. They rushed over again. The eyes of the people from the other sects were also red. In an instant, 3 forces surrounded the dark red divine dragon. In the distance, many elders were so angry that they vomited blood. What a wastrel! If they took those 100 drops back and refined them with spirit herbs, they would definitely be able to refine countless spirit pills and miraculous medicines. But now, they were all swallowed in one gulp? That's not wastrel. What is it if not a waste? Spit it out. Sure. I'll spit it out for you. Pa 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 pa. I'll spit all over your faces. The dark red divine dragon spat crazily in the air. This was not ordinary spit. Nor was it earth essence liquid. It was dragon breath. Of course, this was different from the legendary dragon breath. Legend had it that a drop of dragon breath was comparable to a peerless divine medicine and could bring the dead back to life. However, in reality, dragon breath was extremely corrosive. In an instant, all the attacks in the sky were melted, and some landed on the bodies of those people, causing them to emit sizzling white smoke. Those people were rolling on the ground and screaming crazily, "Damn it, this snake is too evil. What did it spit out? Oh no, its spit is poisonous. Don't let it hit you." In an instant, all kinds of screams were heard. The cultivators in other places also twitched their mouths. Where did this terrifying monster come from? Fortunately, the snake did not have any designs on the earth essence liquid. Chapter 24-24. Lin Xian's face also darkened when he saw that. He transmitted his voice. "Ruffian dragon, stop eating. I'll refine something good for you when we get back. You're too wasteful." Putting aside Zhang Xian, even Xing Tian and Elder Li's lips were twitching. They were experts of a mortal palace, and were used to seeing treasures, but they had never seen such a wasteful thing. The dark red dragon snatched another two, and returned to Lin Xian's side. He looked at the three people whose faces had darkened and chuckled. "What do you know? I didn't eat it." He looked at Elder Li. "Old man, take out your jade gourd." "What are you doing?" Elder Li was puzzled, but he still took it out. The dark red dragon took the gourd, opened the lid, and started to spit into the gourd. "I'm spitting, I'm spitting, I'm spitting. Damn. No." Elder Li immediately became anxious. His eyes were red. "That's earth spirit liquid. If you spit into it, how are we going to use it in the future?" Xing Tian was also stunned. "What's going on?" Lin Xian's face also darkened. After the dark red dragon finished spitting, he chuckled. "Why are you looking at me? That's earth spirit liquid. Take a look if you don't believe me." "Damn." Lin Xian stomped his feet in anger. It was indeed earth spirit liquid. It seemed that the dragon did not absorb it, but stored it in its body. However, the earth spirit liquid was mixed with the dark red dragon's saliva. It was disgusting no matter how he thought about it. "Damn it, can't you store it in another way?" Lin Xian gnashed his teeth. Elder Li gave him another jade gourd and told him to put it in. Elder Li's face darkened. He gave the dark red dragon a jade gourd and snatched the previous one. He looked at the earth spirit liquid inside. There was indeed twice as much as before. However, when he thought about how he could use the liquid inside to refine pills in the future, he would eat it. Wouldn't that be eating the dragon's saliva? When he thought of that, he felt nauseous. Therefore, Elder Li secretly left a mark on the gourd. He decided that the pills refined from the gourd would be distributed to the other halls. He would definitely not touch them. An intense battle broke out in the cave. Other than Lin Xian's side, the other great sects of the Holy Lands were also extremely terrifying. Boom! Leaf Daudinier unleashed his sage domain, causing terrifying light to spread out in all directions. No one dared to approach. The saintly body and the power of the remote antiquity families were absolutely terrifying. In another direction, the same light was shining. 108 Buddhas were circling in the sky. It was a terrifying sight. This was the Alcate Saint. As soon as he attacked, he immediately sent the group of people in front of him flying, causing them to be filled with terror and not dare to approach him again. There was nothing they could do about it. They realized that the Alcate Saint's son was too terrifying. His strength was unfathomable. Get lost. I'm the one who took a fancy to him. At this moment, an angry roar sounded from another direction. Immediately after, boundless demonic chi filled the sky and instantly blasted dozens of powerhouses away. What? The Central State's twin kings. He's here again. Seeing this scene, everyone trembled. They didn't expect the Central State's twin kings to appear again. Moreover, from the looks of it, they didn't seem to be injured at all. Could it be that the previous attempt to sow discord had no effect on him? As expected, everyone thought that the Central State's twin kings wouldn't die so easily. In the crowd, Lin Xian also frowned when he saw this scene. They're fine? How is that possible? He was extremely puzzled. Previously, he had successfully sowed discord between the virtuous and evil sons, causing them to fight. From the looks of it, they should be seriously injured no matter what. However, the twin kings were not injured at all. What happened in the middle? He didn't know. In addition to the twin kings of the central state, the jade pool was also very terrifying. Morong Qingqing shot out a lotus flower that spread in all directions. Those people couldn't get close at all. The powerhouses of the central state's prince's dynasty were also extremely terrifying. Streams of dragon chi surrounded them like true dragons. There were also the divine monks of the western desert and the terrifying powerhouses of the southern border. There were too many powerhouses. Each of them was extremely terrifying. They quickly divided the surrounding earth's spiritual liquid. Boom! At this moment, a few figures suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist that scattered in all directions. At first, no one noticed it at all. After all, it was an intense battle, and it was normal for someone to be killed. However, gradually, they realized that something was wrong. That was because more and more people went crazy. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they kept attacking their companions. What was going on? Damn it, someone used an illusion technique. Was it that brat from the Immortal Palace? In an instant, countless people screamed. Many people even wanted to find Lin Xian. Lin Xian also frowned. He didn't use any illusion technique. It should be an expert who used a soul attack, right? The dark rainbow divine dragon flew back. The jade gourd in his hand also contained a lot of Earth's spiritual liquid. However, at this moment, his expression was a little serious. Not good, this place is strange. What's wrong? What did you find? Xing Tian asked. Elderly also frowned as his gaze swept across the surroundings. A trace of golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. In the next moment he felt cold. That was because he found that there seemed to be a few strange things around him. Were those butterflies? Those butterflies were very beautiful and multicolored. However, at this moment, there were all kinds of lights in the cave, so no one noticed them at all. After Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, he immediately noticed them. What was even more strange was that there were things tied to those butterflies. What were those things? Lin Xian looked carefully. In the next moment his pupils shrank. That was because he found that there was a bronze bell tied to those butterflies. The bell was octagonal, and there were mysterious runes engraved on it. They were similar to the runes on the blood-colored door outside. They were abnormally ancient. He didn't recognize them at all. However, at this moment, as the butterflies danced, the bronze bell let out a tinkling sound. Lin Xian keenly sensed that the sound carried an extremely powerful soul attack. Could it be that all the soul attacks from before were released by the bells on those butterflies? He was surprised. He looked carefully, and found that there were a total of 3 bells floating in the air. Lin Xian quickly told the dark rainbow divine dragon, Xing Tian, and Elderly what happened. After seeing this scene, Elderly's pupil shrank. Not good, it's Flower Protector. Hurry up and summon our people back and leave this place. Xing Tian summoned all of them back. Lin Xian gave the order. At the same time he asked, Elderly, what's Flower Protector? It's a very terrifying weapon. Elderly's expression was ugly. He said that in ancient times, there was an extremely terrifying peerless powerhouse. This powerhouse had no other hobbies except for beautiful women. Therefore, he kidnapped the saintesses of the great sage land of that time, and wanted to build a huge harem. Damn, this guy's ambition is too big. Chapter 24-25. Elderly continued. Think about it. The saintesses of the sacred grounds would be like the masters of the sacred grounds in the future. How could they allow themselves to be kidnapped and become someone's concubine or sex slave? That was unforgivable. Therefore, the sacred grounds sent out a large number of experts to kill this peerless figure. However, that person was quite impressive. He was also a devil. He created a kind of bell and sealed the dozen or so saintesses. The experts from the Holy Lands who had rushed over to help were all reduced to ashes by the bell. This bell was called the Flower Protector Bell by the Demon King. However, Flower Protector had been lost for a long time. Who would have thought that it would appear here? This was definitely a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. Hearing this, Xing Tian did not dare to delay, and quickly called back the other two teams, as well as Peacock's men. After hearing this, those people's faces changed. They did not expect such a terrifying thing to be here. Looking at the crazy crowd around them, they were also afraid. Lin Xian gave the order for them to move forward quickly. They had collected almost all the Earth Spirit liquid. The rest was in the possession of the Great Sage Land. It would not be easy to snatch it again. Moreover, there was such a terrifying weapon of mass destruction here. They might as well go deeper. This was the tomb of a saint, and there were many treasures. There was no need to lose their lives here for a bit of Earth Spirit liquid. Damn it, it was Flower Protector. At that moment, the other elders of the Holy Land also noticed the bronze bell. They were scared out of their wits. After all, they were all elders of the Great Sage Land. Naturally, they had heard of the rumors in the sacred grounds. They did not expect to see such a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. In the next moment, these people snatched the Earth Spirit liquid and hurriedly ran deeper. They had no choice. The rumors said that this thing was too fierce. In an instant, everyone ran deeper into the cave. There were fewer and fewer people in the cave. However, there were still some people here. The remaining people wanted to snatch the last bit of Earth Spirit liquid. Of course, there were also some people who looked at the sky with flickering eyes. No one knew what they were thinking. Lin Xian also said, "Elder Wang, Elder Lu, take your men and leave first. Elder Li Xing Tian, you two stay here to support me." "Temple Master, what are you trying to do?" Elder Li asked. Lin Xian looked up at the sky. "You're saying that this is a weapon of mass destruction? If he could get his hands on it, wouldn't it be a very powerful treasure?" "No way." Hearing this, Elder Li and the other two shuddered. Hu Yidao and the others also had a look of fear on their faces. It had to be said that their palace master was really too bold. Even the elders of the Holy Lands had to flee upon seeing this thing. And their palace master actually wanted to take one as a treasure? This made them feel dizzy. That was too dangerous. Elder Li frowned. The other two elders also had worried looks on their faces. Lin Xian said, "What's the big deal? Wealth comes from danger. Also look at those who haven't left yet. They're probably thinking about Flower Protector." As expected, the Yi family and the Wavering Light Holy Land didn't leave. In addition, there were also a few Holy Lands, great sects and members of the imperial family. Their gazes were all fixed on the three Flower Protectors. From the looks of it, he really wanted Flower Protector. "Older brother Xian, aren't you leaving?" In front, Morong Qingqing asked with a voice transmission. She had a puzzled look on her face. Lin Xian pointed up with a smile. Morong Qingqing glanced at the three Flower Protectors with a worried look. "It's fine, I'm confident." "Alright, be careful." Morong Qingqing and the people of the Jade Lake Holy Land left. She wasn't too worried. She knew that Lin Xian had many trump cards in his hands, and his identity was different from before. His life shouldn't be in danger. As for Flower Protector, their Jade Lake Holy Land had no interest. Therefore, Morong Qingqing left. Seeing Lin Xian insist, Elder Wang and Elder Lu took a deep breath. "Alright then, Palace Master, be careful." "Well, go ahead first." The two elders waved their hands and led Hu Yidao and the other two, as well as 100 elites, to the front. Only Lin Xian, the snow-white little monkey, the dark red dragon, Elder Li, and Xing Tian were left. After everyone left, the inside of the cave was already very spacious. There was a large open space. The few people who stayed here looked at each other with vigilance in their eyes. Yi Wudao looked at Lin Xian from the Yi family and smiled. "Brother Lin, which one do you like?" "This one." Lin Xian pointed at the Flower Protector closest to him. "Alright then, I want this one." Yi Wudao pointed at the Flower Protector closest to the Yi family. They didn't care about the third one. Humph. Shameless boasting. At this moment a cold snort was heard. It was from the Five Elements Saint. Around him the Thousand Thunder Saint sneered. "Kid, I finally found you." At this moment, the twin kings of Zhongzhou also flew over. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold light in his eyes. His killing intent soared into the sky. Seeing this, Xing Tian and Elder Li's faces darkened. The current situation was very unfavorable for them. Not only the Five Elements Saint and the Twin Kings, but the Thousand Thunder Saint and other families were also lurking here. It seemed that they all wanted to make a move on them. Seeing this scene, countless gazes looked over. Among them, Yi Wudao sneered and stared at the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. You claim to be invincible in Zhongzhou? Let me see what qualifications you have to say such words. As he spoke, he threw a punch. The golden fist flickered like a golden sun and rushed directly toward the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. You're courting death. The Twin Kings of Zhongzhou were furious. They didn't expect that someone would dare to attack them. Boom! The evil one waved his death scythe, while the good one waved his heavenly treasure, the Dharma wheel, to contend with them. A great battle broke out. Yi Wudao let out a long roar and rushed over with his golden sacred domain. Firstly, he wanted to save Lin Xian from the crisis. Secondly, he had his own reasons. As a sacred body, he thought that he was invincible. Now that he had encountered the Twin Kings who claimed to be invincible in Zhongzhou, he naturally had to fight them. Therefore, the two of them started fighting in an instant. Terrifying energy surged in all directions. Among them, a few powerhouses wanted to secretly seize Yi Wudao and the nearby flower protector. In the end, they were sent flying by the energy shockwaves and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. For a moment, they didn't dare to have any ideas about flower protector near Yi Wudao. Therefore, they looked at the other two. One of them was where Lin Xian was. The situation there was the most complicated, and many people wanted to make a move. As for the third one, the wavering light saint stood out. This one is mine, the Alcate sage said faintly. Although his voice wasn't loud, there was an unquestionable tone in his words. If you want to protect Flower Protector, you'll have to ask my fist first. The four symbols Saint Child charged over and fought with the Alcate Saint Child. Chapter 24-26. The four symbols Saint Child charged over and fought with the Alcate Saint Child. At the side, the eyes of a few experts flickered as they waited for an opportunity to snatch the flower protector. On Lin Xian's side, the Five Elements Saint walked out. 5 colored lights surrounded his body, making him look like a god fiend. Kid, you're the one who destroyed my 5 Elements palace? You really don't know what's good for you. I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and apologize and I'll spare your life. Hearing that, Elder Li and Xing Tian's faces darkened, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. However, Lin Xian sneered. You're the one who doesn't know what's good for you. Boom! He struck out with his palm. The Sun Moon Divine Palm surrounded the surroundings and pressed down from the sky. The sun, moon, and stars emitted a terrifying light, as if a starry sky was descending from the sky. Once the Sun Moon Divine Palm was unleashed, a terrifying energy swept out, causing the surrounding people to scream. They all retreated. For a moment, no one dared to attack. Humph! The 5 Elements Saint shouted angrily. Others did not dare to attack, but he did. 5 Elements Fist. With a furious roar, the 5 Elements Saint threw out a golden fist with an indomitable aura and charged toward the Sun Moon Divine Palm. An intense collision sounded, and violent energy tore through the void, shaking heaven and earth. The sun, moon, and stars revolved, trying to refine the golden fist. The golden fist was extremely violent, and it instantly shattered many stars. Kid, I heard that you also know the 5 Elements technique? Today, I'll let you see what the real 5 Elements technique is. Earth Fist. The earth rumbled and turned into a ferocious earth dragon. It soared into the sky and directly pierced through the Sun Moon Divine Palm. Then, it bared its fangs and brandished its claws, charging toward Lin Xian. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he instantly dodged. However, terrifying seawater appeared in the sky again, completely sealing him. Boundless waves rolled in all directions of the world. It was as if a vast ocean was surging in the void. What immortal palace master! That's all he is. Seeing that he had trapped his opponent in an instant, the 5 Elements Saint sneered disdainfully. Buzz! A sword light shone, splitting the seawater in the sky, creating a vacuum. Then Lin Xian walked over. Seeing this, the 5 Elements Saint was stunned. Then he sneered. Indeed, he had some strength. However, it was still not enough. Fist of Fire. The 5 Elements Saint pushed out his fist, and a boundless sea of fire spread out, erupting with tens of thousands of rays of light. Sword of Fire. On the other side, Lin Xian also performed the 5 elements sword technique. To be honest, he had just started cultivating the 5 elemental sword. In terms of the 5 elemental arts, he was definitely inferior to the 5 elemental saint. However, he possessed the great dragon sword soul. This was something that the 5 elements saint did not possess. Therefore, Lin Xian was not afraid of him at all. In the sky, an incomparably pitch-black flaming longsword descended from the sky and slashed downwards. It collided with the terrifying flaming fist. Boom! Boom! An intense collision ensued. Flames overflowed into the sky and spread in all directions. The surrounding people were so shocked that they quickly retreated. Fortunately, Lin Xian and Lin Xian had controlled their strength, limiting the impact to a certain range. Otherwise, the entire world would be filled with boundless flames. You can actually block my fist of fire. The 5 elements saint frowned. In the next moment, he performed the fist of water again, wanting to destroy his opponent's sword of fire. However, Lin Xian also performed the sword of water to counter it. In an instant, the two of them were evenly matched, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. ****, how is this possible? How can his 5 elements technique be able to counter mine? The 5 elements saint's face darkened. He was the saint of the 5 elements palace, and his 5 elements technique was unparalleled. Yet his opponent was able to counter him. This surprised him greatly, and he could not believe it. Buzz! However, at this moment, a large palm stretched out from the sky. It carried a sky full of lightning and enveloped the flower protector. ****. Seeing this, Lin Xian's face immediately darkened. On the other side, the 5 elements saint also roared in anger. Boom! The two of them attacked at the same time, bombarding the lightning palm. Boom! 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 Intense collisions sounded. Not only that, but the butterfly in the sky also flapped its wings. Suddenly, the flower protector on its body shook and made tinkling sounds. A formless and terrifying wave of energy rushed down. In an instant, it slammed into the lightning palm. The surrounding space shattered, and the lightning palm dimmed before disappearing. Lin Xian and the 5 elements saint exchanged 3 moves in the sky, and they each retreated to one side. Whoosh! Their eyes were cold as they stared at another place. There stood a young man in a thunder robe. At this moment his face was also dark. He did not expect his sneak attack to fail. The Thousand Thunder Saint. Lin Xian frowned. This was an old enemy. Previously, he had fought with him in the eastern wilderness. At that time, both of them were not almighties. However, the other party was already very powerful at that time. Now that he had broken through to the almighty realm, the other party had also broken through to the almighty realm. Moreover, he had reached an unfathomable level. Needless to say, these saints' talents and resources were too terrifying. If ordinary people encountered Lin Xian's cultivation speed, they would have been left far behind. However, the Thousand Thunder Saint did not fall behind. Instead, he was advancing side by side. One could imagine how terrifying his talent was. But so what? Lin Xian would not let him go if he dared to snatch the flower protector. Whoosh! He waved his long sword, and the golden sword flew out like a bolt of lightning toward the Thousand Thunder Saint. The Thousand Thunder Saint waved his hand, and the endless power of thunder and lightning condensed in front of him, forming a thunder god shield in front of him. Clang! The thunder god shield collided with the golden sword, making an earth-shattering sound. Terrifying sword chi and thunder rushed in all directions. It pierced through the void. In the next moment, the thunder shield was blasted away. The golden sword seemed to have turned into a golden dragon. It kept attacking, and the thunder god shield kept retreating until it was sent flying. Whoosh! The golden sword slashed toward the Thousand Thunder Saint. Whoosh! Chapter 24-27. No need. Ruffian Dragon. You and Little White quickly seal flower protector. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the dark red divine dragon's eyes lit up. That's right, he was proficient in formations. Coupled with Little White Monkey's treasure bowl, he could seal Flower Protector more easily than anyone else. Thinking of this, the two of them moved quickly. Xing Tian, an elderly, did not make a move. Unless their lives were in danger, they would not make a move easily, unless Lin Xian gave the order. Now, Lin Xian had no intention of letting them make a move, so the two of them just watched silently. Damn it, get down here. He saw the dark red divine dragon and the little white monkey flying towards the Flower Protector. The 5 Elements Saint roared, while the Thousand Thunder Saint held a thunder sword and slashed out. Boom! Bang! However, both of their attacks were blocked. The ancient dragon abyss sword in Lin Xian's hand emitted a terrifying light. Your opponent is me. You're courting death. Get lost. The 5 Elements Saint and Thousand Thunder Saint were really angry. Lin Xian wanted to fight the two of them alone. What a joke. They were saints. The most powerful existence in the younger generation. How dare Lin Xian look down on them? In the next moment, the 5 Elements Saint shouted, "Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." The Thousand Thunder Saint also smiled. He realized that this was the best time to kill Lin Xian. Moreover, he did not think that Flower Protector would be sealed so easily. Sure enough, Flower Protector counterattacked. The dark red divine dragon and little white monkey kept dodging. Seeing this, the Thousand Thunder Saint was completely relieved. In the next moment, he stared at Lin Xian. Today is the day you die. As he spoke, the power of thunder on his body directly pierced through the sky. The terrifying thunder rumbled like a peerless thunder god, mighty and mighty in the entire cave. At this moment, the experts lurking around were stunned. In the distance, Yi Wudao, the Alcate Saint, and the others who were fighting also looked over. They did not expect that Lin Xian would fight the two of them alone. And 2 saints at that. The surrounding experts started to discuss among themselves. This kid was too arrogant. Who did he think he was? That's right. Most likely, even the older generation wouldn't dare to be so arrogant as to oppose 2 saints. Just wait and see, he's definitely going to die. The sword in his hand was a peerless treasure sword. After he died, he would definitely snatch it back. These people had already begun to set their sights on Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly snorted, and countless sword rays shot out in all directions. He held the Dragon Source ancient sword in his right hand, while a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in his left hand, emitting a terrifying aura. As soon as this sword shadow appeared, everyone's hearts jumped wildly, and they felt a chill run down their spines. Not good. This brat is going to use his trump card. Quickly subdue him. The 5 Elements Saint and the 10,000 Thunder Saint looked at each other and quickly flew out. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. The dragon-shaped sword in his left hand performed the 5 Elements sword art, while the ancient dragon abyss sword in his right hand performed the chaotic heaven destroyer sword. The 2 heaven tier sword arts, together with the peerless sword Qi, attacked. Boom! 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 After an intense collision, 2 figures were sent flying. When the surrounding martial artists saw this, they went crazy and almost bit off their tongues. One by one they exclaimed, "Damn it! This is impossible! How did he do it?" This was because they realized that the ones who were sent flying were the 5 Elements Saint and the 10,000 Thunder Saint. But how was this possible? The 2 saints were unable to defeat the other party? What a joke! This scene was simply too shocking. Chapter 24-28. Damn it! What is that sword shadow in his hand? The surrounding people were going crazy. The 2 saints gritted their teeth, while Xing Tian, an elderly behind them, were also extremely shocked. Originally, they were still a little worried when Lin Xian fought against the 2 of them. After all, they were both saints who had been famous for a long time. But now it seemed that they were overthinking. Lin Xian's combat power really shocked them, especially that dragon-shaped sword shadow. Xing Tian and Elder Li's hearts were beating wildly. That was too unbelievable. Their strength was very terrifying, and there were not many things that could make them feel afraid. They did not know what that sword shadow was. But thinking about it, it must be extremely terrifying. Ha 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 ha. Got it. At that moment, a strange laughter came from above. The dark red dragon was extremely excited. The sound attracted Xing Tian and Elder Li's attention. Many of the others also looked over. Damn it! They were extremely shocked, because they found that the flower protector on the butterfly had disappeared. Got it! Seeing that, Lin Xian was also happy. He waved his hand and said coldly, "Let's go." Whoosh! He stopped fighting and turned to leave. The dark red dragon and the little white monkey returned to his side. Xing Tian and Elderly also moved together. Among them, Xing Tian and Elderly were surprised. Previously, they were only focused on watching the battle and did not look at the dark red dragon. They did not expect that the other party would seal the flower protector so quickly. Oh my god, that's too terrifying. That's a legendary killing weapon. With a gentle shake, it can destroy the body and soul of an expert. Thinking of that, they were also very excited. They had just arrived at the saint's tomb, and they had already obtained a big treasure. They were really overjoyed. Therefore, they could not help but speed up. Damn it, stay here. Behind them, the 5 Elements Saint and the 1,000 Thunder Saint were furious when they saw that. They had been fighting for a long time, but the treasure was snatched away by the other party. How could they accept that? So they chased after it frantically. Not only them, but the experts from the 5 Elements sect and the 1,000 Thunder Sacred Land also chased after it. The others were also shocked. They did not expect that the first to succeed would be Lin Xian. For a moment many people looked over. When they saw that Lin Xian was about to leave, they all had different feelings. Brother Lin, well done. Leaf Doudenier. The Alcate Saint's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. The twin kings were so angry that they abandoned Leaf Doudenier and shot toward Lin Xian. The Scythe of Death and the heavenly treasure Dharma wheel descended from the sky with a monstrous aura. Get lost! Lin Xian roared and struck with both swords, shattering the heavens and earth. The Death Scythe and the heavenly treasure Dharma wheel were all blown away. Lin Xian's chi and blood were also churning inside his body. However, he did not retreat. Instead, he charged forward. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the Central State's twin kings were furious. How could they allow the other party to leave? So they attacked again. Humph! Xing Tian snorted coldly and made his move. His fist streaked across the void, and a resplendent light tore through space. It was so bright that no one could open their eyes. Pung pung pung. The twin kings were forced back by the punch. Damn it! The twin kings roared angrily. They did not expect that there would be such an expert beside the other party. However, although they were angry, they did not attack again. On the other side, the powerhouses of the other sacred grounds all attacked. Flower Protector was such a terrifying weapon that it was difficult to seal it. It would be difficult for them to succeed in a short period of time. They did not expect the other party to succeed in sealing it. This was good too. It would save them a lot of trouble. They naturally had to attack. For a moment, many people gave up on the Alcate Sage and rushed toward Lin Xian. Humph, kid, let's see how you escape. Seeing this, the twin kings sneered. The 5 Elements Sage and the 1,000 Thunder Sage were also overjoyed. As long as these people stopped the other party, then they could swarm him together. In short, they must not let the other party escape with Flower Protector. Humph! Courting death. Don't hold back. Attack! Lin Xian shouted coldly. The Dragon Source Ancient Sword released 2 seals. In his left hand, the dragon traversing sword emitted an incomparable light. Boom! Boom! In an instant, Lin Xian sent 2 people flying. The 2 of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. One of them was split in half, and the other exploded. After receiving Lin Xian's order, Xing Tian and Elderly also made their move. The 2 of them were peerless powerhouses. When they attacked, they were really terrifying. The remaining martial artists were terrified. They did not expect the other party to have so many powerhouses. Moreover, they were so terrifying. They could not fight against them at all. Many of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their bones were broken, and they crashed into the mountain in the distance. Bang! 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 The little white monkey appeared and disappeared unpredictably. It instantly knocked out a few powerhouses who were close to it. The dark red divine dragon swung its tail and sent all the dizzy experts flying. Half of their faces were smashed into smithereens. For a moment, no one could stop Lin Xian and the others. Seeing that they were about to enter the passage, The people from the Five Elements sect and the Thousand Thunder sacred ground chased after them frantically. However, Lin Xian and the others had already entered the cave. The few of them attacked together, and the violent energy exploded behind them. This attack was too terrifying. The few powerhouses were already terrifying. When they attacked together, the power was enough to make people tremble. Sure enough, the people from the Five Elements sect and the Myriad Thunder sacred land were scared out of their wits. Damn it! Dodge! The Myriad Thunder Saint and the Five Elements Saint roared crazily. They stopped and fled to the back. At the same time, they formed a defensive barrier to resist the energy in front of them. Boom! It was earth-shattering. Countless cracks appeared in the space. The powerful energy blasted them all away. The Five Elements Saint and the Myriad Thunder Saint felt their blood boiling. The other powerhouses spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were full of fear. Damn it! They escaped. They gritted their teeth, and their faces were extremely gloomy. Saint, should we go after them? An elder from the Five Elements Palace asked. The Five Elements Saint's face was gloomy. It was useless to go after them. Chapter 24-29. However, the wind chime was completely sealed. Lin Xian took the flower protector and placed it in the black earth. It was not suitable to use it yet. It seemed that it was the same as the sage's hand bone. They could not bear it yet. However, it should be good as a trump card. What a great harvest! I've obtained a powerful weapon. Moreover, I've obtained a lot of earth spirit liquid. Let's go and meet up with the Dao Peacock and the others. Lin Xian waved his hand, and they quickly flew forward. They were very fast and flew quickly in the tunnel. However, not long after, Lin Xian and the others frowned. That was because they heard the sounds of fighting and screams in front of them again. What's going on? What happened? Could it be another treasure? Lin Xian was puzzled. They guessed that it was another battle over a treasure. Let's go and speed up. Thinking of this, they were excited and flew quickly again. However, when they arrived, they frowned. Their pupils even constricted. That was because they realized that it was not the case. It was not what they had imagined. In front of them, the people of the Great Sage were attacking the insects that filled the sky. At that moment, in the cave in front of them, the ground and walls were covered with black insects. The small ones were the size of bowls, and the big ones were the size of wash basins. They were pitch black and had strange patterns on them. Ka. The insects' teeth were very sharp, and could even bite treasured sabers and swords into pieces. That was too shocking. One had to know that the treasures in the hands of these people were at least high-grade earth-rank treasures, and many of them were even top-grade treasures. However, they were broken so easily. What kind of insects are these? Ah, a disciple of the Union sect screamed. He was surrounded by countless insects, and the armor on his body was instantly shattered. Those insects began to gnaw on his flesh and blood. In the end, more than half of his body was rotten. He fell to the ground and twitched nonstop. Things like this are happening everywhere. Damn it! Get lost! A warrior from the sacred land of Dian waved his huge sword and swept it in all directions. The insects were all sent flying. However, they soon shook off the soil on their bodies and crawled over again. Damn it, how is that possible? How can they be fine? These people are crazy. Their attacks can even destroy the void. But now he couldn't kill these bugs. They couldn't believe it. When Lin Xian and the others saw this scene, they gasped in shock. At first, they thought that it was a treasure. But now, it seemed that it was going to be dangerous. Sure enough, when they arrived at the cave, the surrounding bugs also crazily rushed towards them. Humph! Xing Tian snorted coldly and swung his fist. Instantly, the surrounding black bugs were sent flying. However, his expression was ugly. This was because he realized that the bugs were actually fine. How could this be? His fists could easily kill mighty beings. Could it be that these bugs were even more terrifying than mighty beings? If that was the case, then what was the point of fighting? The sky was filled with insects. If they attacked together, all of them would probably be finished. Elderly also waved his hand, and a huge palm of light instantly caught a few insects, wrapping them within. Then he pulled it in front of him and looked at it carefully. Lin Xian and the others all looked over. What? They discovered that the giant palm of spiritual power was completely useless. These insects were included in the palm, and they began to crazily gnaw at the large palms of spiritual power. Many wounds appeared on the palm before it dissipated. Chi-chi. Those bugs rushed out again. Damn! How was this possible? The dark red dragon was shocked. What kind of bugs were these? Why hadn't he heard of them before? Could they be gold-devouring bugs? He thought for a long time and thought of a name. Hearing this name, Xing Tian and Elder Li's eyelids twitched wildly. No way! That kind of thing had long been extinct. How could it appear here? Gold-devouring bugs, what were those? Lin Xian frowned and asked. He held up the dragon sword domain and isolated the surroundings, forming a vacuum zone. It was a legendary bug that was now extinct. At that time, it was a terrifying existence. Legend had it that the gold-devouring bugs devoured metal as food. There was nothing that they couldn't bite. Moreover, because they devoured metal, their bodies were also very hard and difficult to break. What you said is very similar to these bugs in front of us. It seems that they should be the gold-devouring bugs. No, that's not it. Elder Li quickly shook his head. The gold-devouring bugs were a disaster in ancient times. If there were such a large number of gold-devouring bugs, we would probably be finished. More importantly, even in ancient times, there weren't so many gold-devouring bugs. At most there were 5 or 6. I've never heard of so many gold-devouring bugs. This ancient tomb was too strange. First, there were flower protectors. Now there were bugs similar to the gold-devouring bugs. What kind of saint's tomb was this? It was too terrifying. Xing Tian's expression was grave. Lin Xian took a deep breath. I saw Peacock in the others. Let's meet up first. Okay. Elder Li and the others walked forward. On the other side, the battle in the first cave was getting more and more intense. There were only 2 flower protectors left, so no one wanted to give up. The battle between Yi Wudao and Zhong Zhou's twin kings was terrifying. Both of them were peerless geniuses. Their methods were extremely terrifying. At this moment, the battle was difficult to distinguish. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw this scene. Heavens, Yi Wudao was too terrifying. It was obvious that he was fighting 1 against 2. But he wasn't at a disadvantage. Of course, the power of a saint physique had been passed down since ancient times. Yi Wudao's future achievements were limitless. Once he matured into a greater success saint physique, he would be comparable to a great emperor. The Yi family was too lucky. They wouldn't have to worry about the next 10,000 years. With a greater success saint physique and an extreme weapon, unless a true great emperor appeared, no one would be able to compete with them. It was too early to say that. Let's wait until Yi Wudao really matured. Someone sneered secretly. Hearing this, many people's scalps went numb. Did he want to die? How could he say such words? Was he not afraid of being killed by the Yi family? Sure enough, hearing such words, the Yi family's elders snorted coldly. Their eyes were like lightning, sweeping across the surroundings. A terrifying aura surged out from their bodies. Many people were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Chapter 2430. Sure enough, the 5 elements saint and the 10,000 thunder saint could not do anything. They were so angry that they had to use the power behind their backs. However, the wavering light sacred land was not weak either. Several elders joined the battle and fought. Roar! Suddenly, an angry roar came from afar. It was like a dragon's roar that shook the 9 heavens. Hearing that sound, the expressions of those who were fighting changed. Not good, there might be a change ahead. Stop fighting, Wudao. Hurry up. Got it. Yi Wudao nodded and waved his fists. His golden fists forced the middle ground twin kings back. You're not bad. You're my opponent. Well, fight again next time. Yi Wudao said in a deep voice. You want to leave? Not so fast. Go to hell. The twin kings roared. No one had been able to fight him to a draw, so he was very unwilling. However, Yi Wudao would not fight him again. Several elders of the Yi family stepped forward and forced the twin kings back. At the same time, they used all their strength to seal the flower protector above. In the end, the Yi family obtained the flower protector. Ah, damn it. The middle ground twin kings roared angrily. He had no choice. The Yi family was too powerful. He turned around to snatch the last flower protector. However, as soon as he flew into the air, he roared angrily. That was because the wavering light sacred land had obtained the last flower protector. The wavering light saint suppressed the 5 elements saint and the 10,000 thunder saint. He directly used his wavering light divine ability and cooperated with their elders to seal the 3rd flower protector. Let's go. After that, the wavering light saint quickly left with his people. Behind them, the middle ground twin kings, the 5 elements saint, and the 10,000 thunder saint were furious. They followed closely behind. Roar! At that moment, the dragon's roar came from the front again, causing everyone's expressions to change. Damn it, what was going on in front? Could there be a shocking treasure? Thinking of that, their eyes burned with passion, and they sped up. In front of them, the people of the Yi family and the wavering light sacred land were also flying quickly. However, when they arrived, they were stunned. The situation was completely different from what they had imagined. There was no treasure, and the sky was filled with insects crawling toward them. Bang! 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 Yi Wudao threw a punch, and a golden fist illuminated the surroundings, sending a group of insects flying. However, he frowned. Not dead. How could this be? The Yi family elders couldn't believe it. Leaf Dao Dinier had a saint body, and his battle prowess was unparalleled. He could shatter earth-tier treasures with his bare hands. But now, he couldn't even destroy these bugs. It was simply too shocking. Wang. On the other side, the people from the wavering light holy land were also attacked. A holy light ball was formed in front of the Alcate saint, and the terrifying light rushed in all directions. The insects were sent flying, but they didn't shatter. This scene also made the people of the wavering light holy land frown. Behind them, the people from the 5 elements sect, the 10,000 thunder holy land, and other experts also rushed over. When they saw the scene, they gasped. When they realized that the insects were extremely tough and could even swallow their weapons, many people screamed. Damn it, it's the gold-devouring beetles. The eyelids of the 5 elements saint and the others twitched when they heard about the gold-devouring beetles. They had naturally heard of the gold-devouring beetles' fearsomeness. Humph! Right at this time, an elder of the All Beginnings Holy Land coldly snorted. Don't speak nonsense. Those aren't gold-devouring bugs. It really wasn't the gold-devouring beetles. An old granny from the Jade Lake Holy Land also sighed. Yi Wudao and the others looked ahead. The people in front of them were radiating light. Among them was a group of people with draconic aura revolving around them, forming a roaring dragon. The terrifying sound from before had come from these people. The Imperial Family. The Imperial Family of the Grand Xia, Nineli, Tai Dynasty, and the others gathered together. Their draconic aura surged to the heavens, forming the aura of the Tao of Dragons that isolated the insects. Lin Xian and the others also met up with Hu Yidao and the others. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come so close to the Jade Lake Holy Land. Qingqing, if those aren't gold-devouring beetles, then what are they? Lin Xian asked. I don't know for the time being. Morong Qingqing shook her head. Big brother Xian, you weren't injured before, right? I'm fine. Lin Xian smiled. He had snatched a good treasure. Hearing this, the elders of the Jade Lake Holy Land frowned. Could it be that this brat had obtained a flower protector? As he spoke, Lin Xian waved the dragon sword domain, expanding it. Not only did it cover the people of the Immortal Palace, but it also covered the cultivators of the Jade Lake Holy Land. It was useless. The domain could be penetrated by them. A beauty from the Jade Lake Holy Land shook her head. They had also tried, so now they were using the Jade Lake's big magic treasure to support it. However, as soon as she finished speaking, she was stunned. Not only her, but many people from the Jade Lake Holy Land were stunned. Heavens, why is nothing happening? Even the elders of the Jade Lake Holy Land were shocked. Previously, they had also used their king domains to block these insects. However, these insects could destroy their king domains. They had no choice but to take out their magic treasures to temporarily block them. These magic treasures were all heaven-grade artifacts. In fact, Morong Qingqing even took out a heaven-grade artifact to block the insects. But now, the other party's king domain could block these insects. It was too unbelievable. For a moment, the elders of the Jade Lake Holy Land looked around. They were surprised to find that the sword qi was too sharp. It grew and multiplied endlessly, carrying an aura that could destroy everything. The surrounding black insects couldn't enter at all. What a terrifying sword qi! What kind of cultivation technique was this? They thought for a long time, but couldn't figure it out. Boom! On the other side, the Yi family also took action. Yi Wudao opened his golden sacred domain and isolated all the insects. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed in surprise. Even the holy sons and holy daughters were envious. It was said that the domain of a holy physique was extremely terrifying and unique. It could even restrain other people's domains. Now it seemed that it was indeed extraordinary. Damn insects, get lost for me! The twin kings also roared. Half of the demonic qi, and the other half of the golden light, formed a terrifying space that blasted all the insects away. In addition, the All Beginnings Holy Land, the Grand Xia dynasty, and the various families of the great sage, all used their ultimate techniques to isolate these insects. Hurry up and leave. There shouldn't be any treasures here. Many people wanted to leave. Damn it, this is impossible. At this moment, an elder of the Wavering Light Holy Land cried out in alarm, his face full of shock. For a moment, everyone looked over. Even the Wavering Light Holy Son and Holy Daughter Yao Guang were puzzled. Elder, what's wrong? Did you discover something? The Wavering Light Elder was shocked. These aren't insects. If they aren't insects, then what are they? The others frowned. Had the Wavering Light Elder gone crazy? Even the Wavering Light Holy Son and Holy Daughter were puzzled. Chapter 2431. The Yaoguang elder took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. However, his voice was still trembling. He said in a trembling voice, "These bugs are made of metal." Metal? Hearing that, the crowd was even more confused. Why couldn't they understand? At this moment, a young man from the Great Xia dynasty asked. The metal-devouring bugs did eat metal. Could it be that they had grown into metal? No, you don't understand what I mean. They're not bugs. They're not living creatures. They're puppets. Someone made them look like bugs with metal. What? How could that be? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone finally understood. However, they couldn't believe it. What kind of metal could be so terrifying? Moreover, these bugs were too terrifying. They had at least tens of thousands of years of history. Could they have survived until now? They couldn't imagine what kind of means they had. Elder, are you sure? Even the Yaoguang saint was confused. Saint, have you forgotten about my weapon? The elder sighed and waved his hand. Whoosh! He took out a small black flag. The flag was only the size of a palm, and its proportions were very strange. The flagpole was very long, but the flag was very small. It looked very out of place. However, the aura it emitted made people's hearts tremble. A heaven-grade treasure. Everyone was shocked. That's right. Only a heaven-grade treasure could emit such terrifying power. That's my magic treasure. It's called the Sky Demon Flag. It's made of dark demonic gold and other metals. Dark demonic gold? It's that kind of metal. Many people exclaimed when they heard that. Then they were extremely envious. Many people's eyes even turned red. That was because dark demonic gold was the main material for making heaven-grade treasures. It was very precious and rare. Only the Great Sage Holy Church had it, and there weren't many of them. The treasures made by the elders of the Yaoguang Sacred Land were all out of place. It must be because there wasn't enough dark night demonic gold, so it was refined into such a strange shape. One could imagine how precious the metal was. However, what did that have to do with the black bugs on the ground? Everyone frowned. The Jade Lake Saint's beautiful eyes flickered. Elder, don't tell me that these bugs are made of dark demonic gold? That's right, that's what I mean. What? How could this be? When these words were spoken, everyone went crazy. Their faces were full of fear and disbelief. Even Lin Xian and the others were extremely shocked. They were well aware of how terrifying and precious a Heaven Step artifact was. Moreover, it was a precious metal like the dark night demonic gold. It could be said that there were very few of them. But now, what was the situation? Were the black insects all over the mountain made of dark night demonic gold? What a joke! When these bugs gathered together, they almost formed a small mountain. If this was true, wouldn't it mean that there was a small mountain of dark night magical gold in front of him? Thinking of this, everyone's eyes turned red, and their faces were filled with madness. They were too excited. This was a peerless treasure. If they could take it back and refine it, just how many heaven-step treasures could they refine? They dared not imagine. In an instant, many people went crazy. They looked at the black bugs on the ground again. This time it was not fear but excitement. These were all treasures. Elder, are you sure? The Alcade Holy Son still did not quite believe it, but the elder sighed. It was absolutely true. The people of the Yi family also frowned. No wonder it was so hard. Even the Holy Son's body could not be broken. That was because it was a heaven-step material. Who could break a heaven-step treasure? When those words came out, everyone fell silent. That was right. If that was the case, what had happened before could be explained. Then they screamed. Oh my God, who is that? How could he make so many bugs with dark night demonic gold? What a waste! The elders screamed crazily. What a prodigal! Indeed, they did not even have enough materials to make weapons. Now someone was wasting so much precious metal to make bugs. If that was not a prodigal, then what was? Could it be the work of that sage? They thought about it and found that only the owner of the ancient tomb, who was a sage from tens of thousands of years ago, could do that. The others were not worthy of his attention at all. I really want to know who that sage is. Many people were puzzled. However, many elders were even more shocked by the crafting technique. That technique was too heaven-defying. It had existed for tens of thousands of years. If they could get that technique and make other puppets in the city, wouldn't that be heaven-defying? However, most people did not think about that at all. Their eyes were bloodshot as they stared at the bugs on the ground. Grab it! Someone shouted. And those people immediately started to grab it frantically. For a moment, many people started to fight for it again. The intensity of the fight was no less than that of the Earth Spirit liquid. Temple Master, what should we do? The eyes of Elder Li and the others also flickered. They were also very tempted by the dark night demonic gold. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Don't be anxious. Let's wait and see first. There are so many bugs here anyway. Besides, I have a feeling that things are not that simple. Not only did they not move, but the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground also did not move. In the distance, the warriors of the Yi family were also discussing. The others were fighting fiercely. While they were frantically fighting for the dark night demonic gold, another group of people walked into the first cave. Those people were Yin Ruya's people. At this moment, they also arrived at the cave. When they saw the corpses and blood on the ground, they frowned. Humph! Those humans are really greedy. A war broke out so soon. The warriors of the Monster King Palace sneered. However, an elder frowned. Don't be careless. Those humans are smart. They won't fight without treasures. Look around and see what's around. As soon as he said that, they started to look around. Because at this moment, there was no one around. This is Earth Spirit Liquid, a warrior of the Monster King Palace exclaimed. Damn it, they've all taken it. Those people of the Monster King Palace gritted their teeth. The Earth Spirit Liquid, that had existed for tens of thousands of years, was definitely a treasure. No wonder those human warriors were fighting for it. The Earth Spirit Liquid dripped from above. Let's see if there's any above. A few people grew wings on their backs and flew up. Soon they broke off all the rocks above. Because there was some Earth Spirit Liquid on them, they would not let it go.